I remember texting just a message that says, "I'm an alcoholic. This is my cry for help." I grew up in southern Minnesota. My mom and my dad, and I have two brothers. I was stuck in the middle. I graduated from high school in 2003, and I went to Augustana College, which is down in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I got my nursing degree. While I was there, I met my husband. 2007, I graduated with my nursing degree and started my first job at St. Cloud Hospital in the intensive care unit. I was given the opportunity and encouraged to apply to be a flight nurse. This was my dream job. When the helicopter crews would come into the hospital and drop off a patient, I always thought they were so cool. They had their flight suits and they smelled like jet fuel, and I just thought they were incredible, and I just never thought I'd get the opportunity to be one of them. But I did. Meanwhile, while everybody is looking on from the outside, everything looks great, and I've got this really flashy, cool career, and my husband and I are married, and we're working on starting a family. It kind of looks like I've got it all together. The problem is that I'm an alcoholic, and nobody knows this. Nobody knew this. I always found alcohol to be my solution. If I had a really, really crappy day, I go home and I drink. If I had a really great day, I go home and drink. If I can't sleep, I go home and drink. And it becomes these neurons and these pathways in your brain start to be like, that is my solution for everything. So time moves on. I'm still working as a nurse. I'm still at the St. Cloud Hospital. I have my first daughter. I remember after I had her, I kind of remember thinking, I'm a mom now. Like, this should change a person, right? Like, I'm a mom now, so I shouldn't go back to drinking the way that I was. So by this point, that I'm really starting to have red flags go up in my head. You know, I may be doing those like secret Google searches that you do where you're like, do I have a problem with my drinking? But I'm not saying these words out loud to anybody. I'm still somewhere in my mind feeling like someday I'm gonna get a handle on this. Someday something's gonna happen and I'm gonna get a handle on this. That day was never coming. Things were just getting worse. My relationship with my husband was horrible. He resented me for drinking, so I resented him for resenting me, and I drank more. Like, it just kept going around and around. I was getting very suicidal. I had plans for what I knew that I had plans for how I would have my final day. I knew exactly what I was gonna do. I knew how it was gonna look like an accident. And that scared the life out of me because that's not who I am. It had all the power over me. I didn't have a choice anymore whether or not I wanted to pick up that bottle, but it was gonna happen. On 10/10 of 2017, I woke up like any other day. I had the day off from work. I brought my daughters to daycare. That was scheduled, that was planned. I get back home from dropping the kids off from daycare. I remember going to the cabinet to do what came so natural to me and so habitual. And I grabbed the bottle and I took one little pull, and I just thought, I can't do this anymore. Like, how am I ever gonna get out of this? How am I ever gonna get out of this? I need help I don't even know what to do, but I know that there's this little ray of light inside of me that's finally starting to shine and just saying, like, you need help. Like, just call somebody, talk to somebody, you need help. Through the company that I worked for, through the helicopter service, there was a gentleman that was always available to us if we ever had, a tough patient care flight, or if we ever needed to debrief about something. And so I remember sitting down on my couch, grabbing his number, texting just a message that says, "I'm an alcoholic. This is my cry for help." And just hovering my finger over that send button, knowing that as soon as I hit send, nothing's ever going to be the same. My husband, who's out in the field at this point, going about his day, I text him, "I need help. I need help." He'd never heard those words from me. He came to the house, and I looked at him, and for the first time ever, I put those words together. I think I maybe, kind of, sort of, I think I maybe have a problem with alcohol. And I just saw this wave of relief come over him, because up to that point, my alcoholism had been such an unspoken thing. So I reach out to my parents, I reach out to my closest friend. They had no idea that this had been going on, let alone for 10 years. I voluntarily admitted myself to the detox unit in St. Cloud. And that was a horrible experience, as it should be. It was exactly what it needed to be. It was a very safe place where I could withdraw, and they medically managed me. But it was horrible. I never want to go back there. I knew that for sure when I walked out of those doors. So I left detox and I went back home. And I was home for a week. And that was probably the scariest week of my life. Even in hindsight, looking back on it, I didn't have any tools. The things I needed to know, the resource, I didn't have any of it. I was just white knuckling it for a week. And so that day finally came a week later, where we got in the vehicle, my husband and my 2 daughters, and we drove to Center City, Minnesota, and they dropped me off at Hazelton. I had felt so isolated, so alone. The habits, the things that I was doing were so insane to me, but I couldn't stop them from happening. And now I'm in Hazelton, and I'm sitting in rooms with my peers, and every one of them is telling the exact same story. Different people, circumstances, places, and things, but everybody's story was the same thing. And that was so reassuring to me to learn that there was nothing unique about me. I'm an alcoholic, they're an alcoholic, this is what alcoholics do, this is what addicts do. I could not go backwards. I could not go back to the life that I was living. I could not go back to my job. I needed to wipe my slate completely clean. And that was a hard pill to swallow, because it meant giving up the job that I loved. I knew it meant that there were many relationships in my life that were going to go away. And it meant that my life was never going to look the same. I went back to my little farm with me and my husband and my kids, and I got to keep myself busy. So I went out to our shed, and I had these old dressers and this old kind of fireplace thing. And I thought, well, I'm just gonna wipe the 1980s off of it and give it a fresh coat of paint. And I did. And then I stood back and I looked at it and I was just amazed at how these objects had a new purpose and had a new life. And then the people around me kind of looked at it and they thought, well, that's pretty cool. You should sell that. I thought, well, there we go. That'll keep me busy for a little while. So I started repurposing furniture. And I just found this incredibly beautiful correlation between these objects in my life and how there's so much power in restoration and knowing that we all deserve second chances and that we have an awesome God who is forgiving and faithful. So now it's 2022, and I've been sober for 4.5 years, and my days are filled with joy. My days are spent in my Bible. My days are spent present with my kids. My days are spent helping my husband on the farm, out in the field and out doing chores. My relationship with my husband has never been better. My relationship with my kids has never been better. Something that came to me a bit later in my recovery was an invitation to join a Bible study. I hold that Tuesday off on my calendar just to be with those women and sit around that table and share our walk with the Lord, with each other, and gather strength from each other and honesty, and just know that no matter what, we always have the Lord. One of the greatest ways that I have strengthened my recovery is by sharing my story. That's been something that has brought me the greatest amount of strength, is sharing my story with people and giving them hope that they too could have recovery. There's no other logical reason why I woke up the way I did that day. It is only by the grace of God that I woke up that day and He said, "Child, this is enough." And I feel like I'm finally walking in the path that He's laid before me.